All right, day number 17. We've got our next step on the bench press progressions. 4-time, 100 reps of bench press at 100% body weight. And then you take a 2-minute rest every time you break. So knowing this, I thought I'm going to have to push for some bigger chunks of sets and then hope that in that 2-minute rest, I can regain enough muscle endurance to push for a few more big sets. Being that it is a 4-time workout, the more sets you're doing, the more time it's going to take you. So I wasn't really sure how many reps I would get each set, but this first one started off with a big chunk of 18, and then I knew that I'm probably going to have to push my reps around 15 most sets to get it done in a decent time. Got a great chest pump out of this, as you always will when you're doing sets of 10 to 15 reps. Very bodybuilding style of workout, this one. I think my rep scheme was a little bit off the mark on what I would do to try and get the best score possible. Starting out with that 18 reps, I realized that after this second set, it dropped to 14, that it was probably more appropriate to try to hold sets of about 15 or 16 reps each time. And I got as low as 12 reps on a few sets, which I think I was a little bit mentally soft on those sets. I probably could have just taken a breath or two at the top of the rep and then got an extra 1 or 2 out each time there. It made for my last 2 sets to be pretty tough. I got to 71 reps and I thought that I could probably get 15 and 14 reps in my last 2 sets, but it was going to be a real push. And I got 14 reps on my second last set, so that left me with 15. So I had to get more reps than I had got on my previous 3 sets, and I had to get real desperate, but managed to just pull it off. The last 3 reps were a real fight. My last rep was definitely a limit rep. I would not have got another one out, but on my sets of 12s here, I definitely could have pushed an extra 1 or 2 reps out, but I was trying to save a little bit for the later sets, knowing that as the reps went on, it was only going to get tougher to be able to do big chunks of reps. But definitely a great style of bench strength workout. Taxes your endurance, but you get a good amount of sets in, and it's a little bit more of a focused bench workout rather than just having a rep goal each set. You do have to be a little bit strategic, and you do have to fight a little hard on some sets, and you get to find out what you can sort of do with your body weight here. So for me, I'm still using 88 kilos as that's the weight I've based it off from the last few weeks. I'm not exactly sure where my weight sits at the moment in this session. I feel like it could be slightly lighter than the 88 kilos, but as I said, that's the weight that I started it off with. So maintaining and using that as the baseline for this bench progression at the moment. And grinding out that last rep to finish off, 16 minutes 47. I think that's a decent time for this style of workout. Be interested to know what some people that have a really strong bench could get with that. But yeah, happy with that one. Accessory work for this session, every 2 minutes for 5 sets, 3 single leg box jumps each side with a single leg landing, and then at the 10-minute mark, do an EMOM for 10 sets, 1 box jump, which I did from just a still standing start to max height. Now, with the single leg box jumps, I started with a 20-inch box height. I did 2 sets of that and then felt a bit more confident to up the height. So I went up to the 24-inch box height for the remaining sets. However, I did find out early on on the 24-inch box that I had to make sure I was mentally in it and putting in full effort on each jump, as my third rep on my second leg had a little bit of a trip up, or sorry, my first leg had a little bit of a trip up, as you'll see here. Got a little bit of a laugh out of it, but it's also a reminder to always switch on, make sure you know what you're doing. Luckily, I wasn't using a wooden box. I'd use a wooden box pretty much for everything except for these style of box jumps, as the risk is a little bit higher for tripping or falling. So definitely prepared for it there, but made sure that I was a bit more focused on each jump after that. So workout number 1 for this session, we're doing every 4 minutes for 5 sets, a 12-calorie row, 9 burpee box get-overs at 48-inch box height, 12-calorie row, and then 6 burpee box get-overs at the same height. So these were meant to be a little bit more of an intense interval, trying to push the pace on the row a little harder, and then with the more athletic-based burpee with the get-over. First set was just kind of figuring it out, finding the sort of cadence and rhythm. And then as the sets went on, I was able to negative split the whole way through. And I think that more just came from better efficiency on my burpee box get-overs, and then pushing a little bit more, or at least holding on to my row pace. Trying to row each set of calories in about 30 seconds, and then just getting more efficiency on my box get-overs. So as you can see here, going over the box doesn't really change, but my step up, I take a few steps in and then jump up over the box, which wasn't taking a lot of extra time, but it was just, I felt as though I could have been a little bit more efficient. So that was the main change as sets went on. was the step up from the ground, got my foot a little bit closer, almost like swinging my leg around a little bit, and then jumping straight up, which you'll see in the later sets, and I'll explain that as I get there. But this first set, you can see the technique and efficiency wasn't the best, and that was the main change to get faster splits each set. So last set coming up now. I just wanted to run through the difference in technique on the burpee box jump over. So the row stayed the same, about 30 seconds. But then as you can see here, my left leg, I step in close to the box, bring that right leg to meet it, and then jump straight up and over. And then just a little bit more urgency in getting to the ground and popping back up. The time to get over the box, probably not much different. And then just a little bit, obviously getting a bit tired there. Just at this point, there is a bit of fatigue after doing the first part of the session and then the first few rounds, but I really tried to make an effort to just step it up and get straight over. And then I was saved about 5 seconds compared to my first set, which obviously I was fresher going into, but that 5 seconds in a short interval like this, you do that on each transitions, be a little bit more urgent. You save about a second, and then 5 seconds on the burpee box get over time. It ends up being 15 seconds in each split that you go a bit quicker, which I think I probably could have maintained around 2-minute 20 split times. However, that's what I now know from doing this workout, which is why it's important to look at it, look at your times, look at where you made changes, and if you could put that into the next time you do it, where you would get, and then when you do a workout like this again, put it to the test, see if you can get it, and then your fitness just will improve from the fact that you can be a bit more intense and intentional with your effort, which then carries over to competition. So, yeah, happy with this. Learned something from it and got a good workout in. Our last piece for the session, 4-time unbroken drag rope double unders. So it's a flight simulator style of reps, going 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then back down. I knew that the sets of 40, 50, and 40 in the middle here were going to be pretty tough. So I just paced myself early, did the 10, took a breath, did the 20, took a little longer, did 30, took a little longer, and then just increased my rest between each set to where my shoulders felt ready to go again and the body just as a whole felt ready to go again. I didn't want to have to repeat sets by tripping up. So managed to go unbroken right through with the small breaks, but my only trip up was on my last set of 10. I tripped up my first rep, but then obviously by that point, not a big deal. Didn't really cost me any time. And yeah, good finisher to this session. For some reason, my calves really felt it after today. It could have been just from the accumulation of run volume, plus the jumping, the double unders. It's the only thing I can put it down to, as well as just the walking around and distance covered at work throughout the days. But yeah, my calves were really sore after this for some reason. But well, they'll hopefully adapt and won't be as bad in the future. So yeah, see you tomorrow.
Showstar.